Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Sundance Media Group podcast channel. It has been a minute or two, and we have missed you dearly. We've been out in the field training and trying to work around this COVID-19 issue. I know we're all shut down on our end here in Las Vegas, so we're doing our socially distancing. I'm in the office, and Joanne is way on the other end of town.
I am in the other office on the other side of town, socially distant. I can see you over there.
Well, at least you can see the strip.
Exactly, which, there's people on the strip on your side of town, yeah.
We have been keeping ourselves busy with doing some year-end activities, mostly notably inventory management and some maintenance of our aircraft. And we thought that this might be a really good time to share forward some of those pieces of the puzzle for people out there doing what we do in the field as drone service providers and anyone who has a hangar, if you will, of aircraft. So last week, Joanne and I
of aircraft. Oh my goodness. So inventory management, folks, serial numbers, ID numbers, write them down, keep them current. Oh, wow. Sorry. It was a flashback moment.
Yes, at least we had some fun doing our inventory management. All right, and with that, I'm going to dive into the document that Joanne and I pulled together last week. We've got this internally, but it is something that we wanted to share with everyone. And basically, this is a document that details out routine UAS maintenance, and that kind of gives you a very high-level overview of bits and pieces that you should be looking at for your aircrafts. We have based it on 25 flights, 100 flights, and an annual maintenance. So not everyone's going to get 100 flights within a year, but every year, every aircraft should have some level of maintenance done to it. So I'm just going to quickly go through the three main sections of our document. This will be posted with our podcast so that everyone has access to it. You'll see at 25 flights, kind of the key pieces are ensuring that the aircraft firmware is updated, inspecting the actual aircraft for any cracks or issues or dust and debris, and in my opinion, most importantly, replacing the props every 25 flights. One of the things we've found with the unmanned pilots is that props, even though you check them and kind of feel the propellers, for any nicks or cracks in them, there's like micro, I guess, kind of dust in them, and they really aren't working as well as a new set of props would be. So a lot of manufacturers suggest that 25 flights, the props be switched out. We've incorporated that into our checklist. At 100 flights, we go into a little bit more detail. You'll see that motors pops up on the list. So now we've got, how to check your motors, making sure that they're clean of debris and dust and that they're spinning properly. Sometimes when you actually twist the motor itself, you'll actually hear some grit in there. Don't be afraid to take a can of air and spray it out. Of course, props again. We get into talking about the remote and what we should be checking on the remote, where we didn't do that at 25 flights. I do think the remote is kind of a key piece of your UAS system, so make sure that you're keeping your remote up to date. And then annually, again, this is something that regardless of how many flights you have had in the year, go through your entire checklist for the year. It's very long, so I'm not going to go through it. I'll leave this for our audience to check it out online. And go through each and every piece of it, and then make sure that you are logging what pieces of many maintenance that you might have. So if you've changed out props, the firmware updates, if you need a new motor, all of that. And then with that, I'm going to hand it over to Joanne, because I know you've got more.
I do. So with maintenance, your aircraft won't go without a battery. So battery management and making sure that you know how many cycles that battery has had on it. First and foremost, number your batteries. Whatever
So
sequencing
important.
you want to do, but number them and make sure that number is attached, just like your serial number on your aircraft and your FAA number on the outside. You've got to make sure that they're on and secure, because a battery that does not cycle properly, you send it out thinking you have 20, 25, 30 minutes of flight time, and you're short your flight time, and that is never a good outcome that I know of.
No.
So to continue on, this is simply an Excel spreadsheet. You can use Excel, Google Sheets. You can go the old-fashioned way, because with our socially distant situation, we're finding all kinds of old-fashioned ways to live. Pencil and paper is the best old-fashioned way. Or once you get your service up and running, you certainly can get a professional, either a professional app or someone to do this for you. But critical pieces to this are knowing who's flying the aircraft, what aircraft model and make, your serial number, reg number, all of those pieces. Before you put it up, make sure that you are checking all the information. Which aircraft do you have? What ID number? They all look alike, kind of, sort of, but let's make sure you're flying what you think you're flying. This, I will give you an opportunity to make any pre and post maintenance notes. And then, of course, on the aircraft maintenance side, all these, each one of these are critical pieces to knowing what happened, who did it, when did they do it, and did they take it out and do a flight check before they handed it back to you?
Which is really important. I know, especially after calibrating for the GPS, or calibrating the gimbal, calibrating the aircraft in general, not doing a flight check is really irresponsible, because sometimes, you know, those calibrations don't go cleanly and there may be issues with the aircraft. So to get that aircraft onto a project site without having had a post maintenance flight check done is irresponsible. Absolutely do your flight checks after updating firmware, after updating or calibrating any of the pieces of either the aircraft, the camera, or the remote, and making sure that everything is running smoothly before you get into a project.
And we need to remember too that because we have more people who are doing flights that may need lighting assistance, such as our FoxFury lights, the E3060, to have those on an aircraft, you need to make sure that you're adding those batteries, that you're maintaining everything.
Yeah, absolutely. The D3060s, they don't have their own separate battery. The Rugos have their own separate battery. So I would highly suggest numbering your Rugo batteries from FoxFury as well, and making sure that they're all functional, clean of debris. And that's part of the biggest piece of an annual maintenance, is not only making sure that you have everything that was on your inventory list to begin with. Sometimes, you know, you get busy in the field and the lights end up over here, and the batteries are kind of scattered over there, and you want everything to come back to the travel case that the aircraft system is in, and make sure that everything's clean and functioning and that there's no major issues with it. I mean, there's obviously going to be some field and natural wear and tear on things, the scuff marks, et cetera, et cetera. But as long as everything's functioning properly, we're good to go.
And the last thing you want to do is to set your next flight up to have a challenge because you didn't put everything back in the box and you haven't got a checklist. There's checklists for checklists for checklists.
Isn't that the truth? Yes, absolutely.
And
all right.
List says we've checked all the lists that we had to talk about, and
yes,
hope that you are safe and well, and we'll be back because we're socially distancing and we want to make sure that you're okay and that your aircraft is safe when you're up and flying.
Yes, we do. Thanks for joining us. Check out the rest of our podcast options down there and be sure to subscribe because we will have more podcasts coming soon. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Be safe.